AI in Action is brought to you by Alldus International, covering your business's staffing, consulting, and networking needs. Our host brings you the leading minds in AI, sharing their story, their success, and their advice. Focusing on fast-tracking you to the top, AI in Action cuts through the hype to help you kickstart your data science career. To listen to the latest AI in Action podcast, head over to www.alldus.com/podcast or subscribe via iTunes, Stitcher, or Google Podcasts.
Welcome to another edition of the Alldus podcast, our ServiceNow series. Today we're extremely lucky to host another ServiceNow legend of the ecosystem, Mike Lombardo. Mike is CEO of GlideFast Consulting, a consulting and professional services organization who focus exclusively on ServiceNow. GlideFast have a passion for partnering with organizations to achieve, and I guess even overachieve, their service management goals within the ServiceNow platform. In this conversation, we hope to give you a high-level overview of GlideFast, Mike's extensive career and the journeys he's been on, sharing some of his key learns, his thoughts on talent, and that's an attraction and retention standpoint, what makes a successful implementation, focusing specifically on both sides of the coin, what's needed by the partner and also the organization implementing ServiceNow. His thoughts on innovation with the platform, and just some general advice on the ecosystem. So, Mike, welcome to the show. We've got quite a bit to cover, but appreciate you jumping on board today.
Ben, thanks for having me. Really happy to be here.
Pleasure's all ours. So, let's start by giving the listeners an overview of GlideFast.
Absolutely. Yeah. My favorite topic to discuss.
I hope so.
So GlideFast is an elite ServiceNow partner. As you mentioned, we're exclusively focused on the platform. We're really not touching any other technology unless really we're integrating ServiceNow with it. We're a team of over 150 ServiceNow experts. I think the biggest real differentiator from us and other ServiceNow partners out there is the fact that we were founded by ServiceNow customers, by ServiceNow architects. And really, we built this company in that image as well. A lot of our leaders, a lot of our senior leadership team, have sat on both sides of the table, both as a customer and as a consultant. And really our mission is really simple. It's spare customers from some of the challenges that we faced personally as a ServiceNow customer, but also share in some of the success that comes along with being a ServiceNow customer as well. I think another great thing about GlideFast is our customer satisfaction rating. We have a 4.8 out of 5. After every ServiceNow engagement, ServiceNow sends our customers surveys. In 2020, we were recognized by Inc. 5000's fastest growing companies. We were number 341 on that list. We were the number 1 fastest growing ServiceNow partner, which was quite an honor. And also we were recognized by Gartner as a ServiceNow market leader this year as well. So really it's been an amazing ride, and we were founded 2015. So it's been 5 or 6 short years.
Awesome. And that's great to hear. And obviously that I will touch on that later, but being able to talk from both sides of the fence is probably a cornerstone of your success, and you've got some great accolades there. So that's awesome. So when we look at your current role in the organization, obviously CEO, but can you give us a bit more of a view on that?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, my job is really to just enable my team to deliver the best services they can, really spread the GlideFast word, if you will, to really connect customers to consultants, connect ServiceNow executives and ServiceNow reps and solution consultants to our team, and really just really grease the wheels of the industry, right? Like, support our customers, spread the ServiceNow joy, if you will, to the community. And that's really how it's always been. I've really, when I started this company, I was a ServiceNow consultant myself, and we'll get into that. So a lot of, my ServiceNow career started out as actually implementing the platform. But as I grew and as GlideFast grew, I really became that kind of connecting consultant to customer. And, finding that problem and providing the resource to solve that. And as a recruiting, recruiter yourself, so much of a customer success relies on matchmaking, right? The right personality, the right skill sets, identifying the challenges that the customers are facing and the goals they want to achieve. So that's really, I've kind of, the last 4 years, I'd say, really focused on that matchmaking, getting the right people in front of the right customers.
Proving true value, definitely. And it all looks so simple from the outside. It's interesting when you break it down. There's a lot that goes into that back end piece of it. So when you look at your background, look, I must admit, everyone I seem to speak to has a different story about how they got into ServiceNow.
Yeah.
Can you give us a bit of an overview there?
Sure. Yeah. So I started out actually as a help desk technician. I started at a pretty young age, pretty much right out of high school. And I fell in love with it. I was in the healthcare industry. So, I really kind of, what got me up every morning was kind of myself, telling myself that, hey, I'm here supporting doctors and nurses who are here saving lives, right? If I help them fix their computer problem, get back to work, to help patients, I'm really kind of doing something noble, right? So I really, that got me through, 5 years of help desk, answering phones and, call after call and, people being stressed out. And I really enjoyed that. I really love solving problems, and it really got me in the habit of solving problems quickly, right? You take 50, 60 calls a day. And especially in the healthcare environment, no doctor or nurse wants to sit on the phone, right? So, do as much as you can to troubleshoot, to try to fix the issue. If you do need to sign it to a technician. And then I also did a lot of technician work as well. So in the field, going out, I dressed up in the bunny suits and going into the OR, and there'd be somebody on the table getting operated on, and I'd be fixing the computer in the background. So a lot of experience, kind of in that front lines IT support role. But one thing we always, kind of wanted was a better tool, right? We had, when I first started out, we had a free, product that was basically just a little upgraded version of Excel. So, we said, imagine if we could, use templates and have some sort of auto assignment, or, based on the building or where this device is, auto assign a technician. And, we kind of asked for that for a couple of years. And sure enough, we got approval to evaluate ITSM platforms. Obviously, we chose ServiceNow, and I fell in love with it immediately. First, mostly because I wanted it to make my life easier, right? Instead of copy and pasting, templates, I was able to leverage templates, right in the system. Things, all types of automation, all the things that come along with ServiceNow. And so I fell in love with it immediately, just from a selfish, make my job easier perspective. Then I got in love with the technical side, of being able to build some really cool stuff and watching other users utilize things that I built, that development aspect, right? I think the favorite thing from developers, the thing developers want the most is just to see people use the things that we've built, right? We're creators. And that just got me. But it was hard. I mean, ServiceNow is not something you can really learn overnight. So it really took me a good, 18 months, immersed in the platform. I mean, my day job, and then I'd come home at night, eat dinner and try to figure the ServiceNow thing out, all night, sometimes. And, but yeah, that's kind of my background. Then I got into the consulting world and, just kind of leveraged all the experience I had as a customer and said, when I get into the consulting world, here's the things that I'm going to do, and here's things that I'm not going to do, and here's, based on the experience I had as a customer of another partner, and as a customer of ServiceNow.
Awesome. And I think, as so many people, you've kind of fell in love with the product, and that seems to be built out of value. When you look at your career, it's fair to say you've come up through the ranks. What have been the sort of maybe 2 or 3 sort of pivotal pieces of your career that you could share with our listeners?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the first thing I'd have to say was, in ServiceNow context, getting my ServiceNow admin cert was an awesome milestone for me. Because I think at the time I was probably only about 6 months into developing on ServiceNow, and you hit so many roadblocks and brick walls, developing and trying to learn this platform. So I think, once I got that admin cert, it kind of gave me a level of confidence, like, okay, I'm on the right track here. Maybe I'm not an expert yet, but I am figuring this out. And this is kind of proof right here. So that was a big step for me. And I could obviously say that pretty much about any other cert in the ServiceNow world that I've received. The certified implementation specialist, took me another year probably to get that, but that was a big milestone. But going to the consulting world was a huge turning point. I mean, going from the corporate world where there's so many rules and, you're kind of limited, especially in the space like the ServiceNow development world, you're kind of limited to, ServiceNow is not our primary business, right? Especially in the healthcare world, for instance, the primary business is healthcare, right? So, everybody's focused on delivering, supporting the business, deliver healthcare, and that's how the organization makes money. And sometimes IT is kind of takes a back seat, obviously, right, to patient care, right? So moving from the corporate world and I joined a startup ServiceNow consulting firm, and it was like the chains kind of were removed from me, right? It was do anything in our power, and I was one of the first employees, do anything in our power to, get business and, help our customers and acquire new customers and build relationships with ServiceNow reps, and hire the best talent and marketing world. And the other side is, ServiceNow was our business, right? So I was bringing in, I was a revenue generator, right? I was considered, top of the list of the organization because I was the person bringing in money. My billable hours was crucial to the success of the company, right? And having happy customers and growing, getting those next phases. So that was definitely a humongous change for me, because I went from kind of being like, yeah, you're a ServiceNow developer, to you're one of the most important resources at our company. So that was really huge. And then, just the exposure to different aspects of the ServiceNow platform, right? It was all we did was ServiceNow. So I got to, get into, the HR aspect of ServiceNow, the customer service management, all the different areas of the platform, where previously I was kind of limited to what the company I was at purchased, right? If we didn't purchase CSM or Discovery, I wasn't able to touch it. But when you're providing ServiceNow services 24/7, you have a lot of opportunity to learn new things.
And that must have been a really big shift in your mindset. So I know a lot of our listeners are going on a similar journey, right? Be that they went from end customer into consulting or vice versa. If you were to give a little bit of advice to the younger Mike, if you could go back in time, what would be your kind of 1 or 2 your 2 gems you'd share with your younger self?
One thing I definitely did right was work extremely hard. I became obsessed, with ServiceNow and with learning, and I kind of didn't let roadblocks, stop me. So I think that's definitely advice. Do everything you can to learn. I mean, scouring the internet, and there's a lot more resources available now than there was, 10 years ago. but, scouring the internet, YouTube, Twitter, trying to just learn as much as possible. And, but I would definitely advice I'd give is, try to find real world examples. I think that was a big struggle was, you're like, how do you teach yourself something that you don't fully understand, right? So we try to, and I was lucky. I had a couple people that were kind of along the journey with me. We were all trying to learn the platform. We started creating, real world scenarios. Okay, let's make this field read only if this field has this text in it or something. So we kind of gave ourselves challenges but were kind of real world scenarios. That definitely helped. Reach out to mentors, especially in the ServiceNow space. There's a lot of people who want to help and want to give back and want to mentor and want to help the community grow. So definitely, I think reach out to someone. And there's a lot of leaders here. I think that's really it is kind of work hard and, try to give yourself real world examples and reach out to mentors.
There's quite a few gems in there. I think you're definitely setting people up for success. Thanks for that. And obviously, look, GlideFast are an organization going through a lot of growth. Obviously there's the skill set piece and the technical piece, but what makes a right hire for you guys? And also on the other side of that, what are GlideFast doing to be the employer of choice? And I suppose it's a big topic. It could be a podcast on its own, but I'm kind of thinking of a summary of, what are you guys doing to attract as well as retain the best talent, especially in this marketplace?
Yeah, now we're in a little different spot because, 150 consultants and, we really just have such great expertise and really true leaders of this industry. So, that really kind of multiplies it on its own, right? It's that talent attracts other talent, and but really from the beginning, I think a big differentiator was the fact that the leaders and owners have done the job before, right? Like I remember it was a little challenging working for people who really didn't understand what goes into these implementations, the challenges, the pitfalls, the rabbit holes. So really, I think kind of understanding the market better than any other partner in the space really gave us a leg up. And in knowing what these developers want and don't want, because we were, those developers ourselves. So I really think in the beginning that gave us the leverage. Really, since then, it's again, like bringing on that talent and the teamwork that our team has, and everybody's here for each other, and there's no drama or people trying to step on people or politics, really makes a big difference. It's not, and you hear in the consulting world, you don't hear a lot of that, right? You hear a lot of people kind of competing with each other, and I think we have a competition, but in a better way where we're competing against everyone else. It's kind of us as a unit, us as a team, competing to be the best partner and provide the best service for our customers. That's our goals, right? And that means everyone being successful, not just one individual person. And that starts at the top, by the way. That starts with me, and I think I do my job, and I go day to day, with that mentality that I'm no better than anyone else, right? And I think a lot of my team respects that because they know I've gone through these implementations. I've been an architect, I've been a trainer, I've been a developer, I've been a business process consultant, right? So it's like Mike's not asking us to do anything he hasn't done himself. I think that's a big thing. And as far as retaining, it's a fun environment. We all are passionate about this platform. We never commit to anything we're not capable of achieving. I see a lot of partners taking on projects that are a little bit over their head. or maybe they don't have the expertise and they have to go to, they land a project and they have to scramble to kind of find resources. We really don't put ourselves in those situations. If we have to turn a project down because we're too busy, or our consultants are fully allocated, we'd rather do that than jeopardize the brand.
Brilliant. Sounds fantastic. So when we, nice segue there into sort of projects. So I know when we spoke before, a lot of our clients in Alldus that are very interested in kind of, what they need to be doing when it comes to a project. So, what are some of the key themes you're seeing from your customers at the moment? And I'm sort of specifically thinking like how GlideFast are really adding value to that customer.
That's a great question. I think a lot of customers are kind of finally moving out of the, ServiceNow is just a ticketing system phase. Mm-hmm. Some are faster than others there. But really, especially with the pandemic and everything that happened in 2020, I think it was just kind of a huge wake up call, and really a lot of organizations kind of got burnt, right? Where they weren't nimble enough, or they weren't ready to make huge, quick, fast business decisions. And, some of these legacy processes and legacy systems, or some of these processes that lived in emails, and, were just, and they went from, maybe having 20, 30 cases a week that are handled in email, when they went to 200 to 300, and it really, was apparent that we just can't provide service like this anymore. I think it was a huge wake up call to really all organizations around the whole entire world. So a lot of them had to scramble, and, how do we handle these 200 cases that are coming in through email? And we have no sort of queue or, workflow behind these things. And so a lot of them scrambled and kind of turned to IT and said, what do we have? What do we have to handle this process? Because a lot of these processes didn't just live in IT, right? They were business processes. They were supporting revenue for their customers. They were, the public sector, with unemployment claims, things like that. So they turned to IT and said, what system can we buy? Or we don't even have time to buy a system or look at systems. What do we have today? And fortunately, most of these organizations already did have ServiceNow. So, maybe they were just using it for incident management or customer service management. And they said, hey, we can build an app, fairly quickly within a week or two to handle and support this process, and add some automation and making sure we're following through on these cases and making sure there's a workflow behind it. And just ensuring closure. I think that was the first thing, right? Is just ensuring closure of some of these inquiries that came into businesses. That was the first thing. If you live in email, we both know how much, we've all missed emails, right? We've all not oh man, I missed that email, I didn't follow through on it. Well, when you have a task management system, you eliminate that 99.9%, right? I mean, So I think that's what's kind of going on in the world now. And I think it's kind of settling down a little bit, where people, may have had to implement things in a week or two and just got to that MVP product. And now they're saying, okay, how do we maximize the efficiency of this app? How can we add in more automation? How can we leverage ServiceNow for some of the other processes? So if this does happen again, we're not caught, red-handed, and not prepared. So I really think that's kind of the state of most organizations right now.
It sounds like you've jumped in and saved the day for a fair few of them. Obviously that no one embarks on an implementation or an enhancement, not wanting it to be successful. But I think there is some advice that's maybe needed there. Like, what advice, and I suppose probably a better way to put it, what should be top of mind for any C-suite executives who are embarking on this? And I'm thinking pre and post go live.
Yeah, that's a great question. A big challenge for customers, I think, nobody likes change, right? Nobody wants to change their behaviors, right? This is how I've been doing it for the last 15 years. Why do we have to get this new system? But I think you see that eliminated immediately when the CIO or the top dog is saying, this is what we're doing. We're moving to this new platform. This is how you're going to do your job in the future. I don't, any issues, I want them escalated to me. If people are pushing back, I want to know about it. You'd be surprised how just saying that from a CIO
Wow.
or VP of IT or VP of HR, or customer service department, right? You'll be surprised how quickly everybody's all about this new platform. The common misconception I think a lot of people have is, oh, this is here to take our job, right? And that's not just ServiceNow. I think that's really any piece of technology. What am I going to do if we have something like ServiceNow where there's automated workflows and automation, and what's my job? That's just such, it's really, ServiceNow is here to just eliminate the stuff we don't want to do, right? Those swivel chair activities, those kind of useless things we have to do, and it's going to allow you to provide more value to your job, and really anybody that's kind of, when I remember being a young help desk guy, and some of the other employees in the IT department be like, yeah, this is great. I don't have to do much work. My job, I just come in 9 to 5, I'm out of here. And I'm like, right. I'd be like, that's not a good thing. Like, what happens when they realize you don't do anything here, and they're gonna, your job's gonna be eliminated, right? So I think some of those jobs that could be at risk probably didn't have much use from the beginning. So I think that's a whole different subject. Is if you're noticing that you're showing up and not providing value somewhere, no matter what your job is, you have an issue, from there. You have a bigger issue on your hands.
So are there any stories that come to mind, anything you'd like to share with our listeners on when you've kind of been on the front lines at all of these implementations?
It's mostly a ton of fun, right? Because you're going through this, huge transformation with these employees and team members at these organizations, and everyone has a little bit of there's always like a little bit of uncertainty and fear, like, is this project going to go well? And, is my job on the line if I screw up, and, am I doing something wrong? So mostly, when we get through this huge journey, and then you have some heated discussions and workshops, where, one person wants it one way and one person thinks it should be another way. And, someone gets loud, and, there's some arguments that happen. But right. When you get through that, and you come out the other end, and everybody's like, you have your go live, and everyone's happy, and we did it. I can't believe what a journey. There was a lot of late nights. There's no better satisfaction. And, especially you as a consultant, people are thanking you, and you really build real relationships with these people. I mean, there's people that, on these projects that I was on years ago, I still keep in touch with, and, I check in on them, and, it's definitely a unique experience. And there's definitely that same gratification that I had on the help desk of solving someone's problem and, getting a nurse back to work. It's kind of similar, just different, of how, like, you're helping a change manager automate change process and right. and things like that,
Awesome. And as we're starting to see the product become more complex, again, I appreciate you don't have a crystal ball, but where do you think the product's leading from an innovation perspective?
Yeah, it's interesting because you have two sides of the coin, if you will. You have ServiceNow adding more processes in, innovating, definitely getting a little more complex, but also becoming a little bit easier because some of the things that required coding maybe is drag and drop now and more configuring and less coding, less customizing. But it's been a cat and mouse with ServiceNow, I'll say our whole career and our whole journey. And I speak for, all ServiceNow developers out there because, we'll build something cool that, because ServiceNow is a platform where you can build, stuff on top of it, right? We'll build this feature that ServiceNow didn't have and, remove some code, remove the need to code to do something. And then you'll see in the next couple releases, ServiceNow has it, right? They innovated it themselves. And so it's always been a cat and mouse of, us creating something cool and then ServiceNow rolling it out of the box. And I think that'll continue to happen. And, I think now it's more of probably like solutions and apps, like a lot of the apps you see in the ServiceNow App Store, start rolling basic out of the box, as a ServiceNow core application. So yeah, I think that's kind of where the market's going.
Awesome. And then, just as we sort of come to an end, obviously a lot of people now are doing their New Year's resolutions. Is there any advice you'd give? You've obviously given a ton here, but anything in closing that you'd give to the ecosystem right now they should be thinking of in 2021? Keep
learning and don't get cocky. I think
right.
Every time that I've thought I was a know-it-all or, I knew so much of the platform, there's always something, no one person can know everything in ServiceNow. It's deep and wide platform. And that's why, like at GlideFast, we have experts that just focus on HR, that just focus on ITOM, that just focus on Service Portal, because you can't be an expert in everything. And that's another thing a lot of partners have challenges with is, they struggle bringing talent in. So when they do get someone who's good, they kind of misinterpret that as, okay, this person can do everything. And it's just not the case. You really need to focus on, if you're going to do ITOM, you need ITOM experts. If you're going to do Service Portal, you need Portal experts. It's different skill sets in this platform. It's not just, it's not like Microsoft Excel where once you know Excel, you can do anything, right? In Excel, it's much larger than that. And believe me, every time I thought I knew it all, or, I got cocky and I said, oh yeah, ServiceNow, can't do that or something, you get humbled very quickly.
Yeah, I can definitely say that I've been there myself as well. So I think they're good life lessons in general, even outside of ServiceNow. Cool. Look, Mike, thank you so much for your time. This has been an absolute pleasure. You've given us a ton of information, and hopefully we'll be going into the new year with this. Excellent stuff. Thank you very much, guys. Right. Mike Lombardo.
All right. Take care.
AI in Action is brought to you by Alldus International, covering your business's staffing, consulting, and networking needs. Alldus offer an exec search program. Alldus can help you discover how data science and AI can transform your company. With our unrivaled network of C-suite executives and senior AI professionals, we offer retained search services across the US and Europe. Get the Alldus advantage. Become a member of the Alldus community and enjoy some of the following: AI meetups. Once a month, our community gathers to listen to some of the leading experts in the world of data science and AI. Our speakers come from all over the world, including Dublin, Boston, and Frankfurt. We also have our AI mentors. Our experts will provide mentoring to Alldus members. And don't forget our AI in Action podcast. Each week, we have guests from all over the world talking us through their education, career, and more. Become an Alldus member and get the Alldus advantage. For more information and to sign up for our newsletter, log on to www.alldus.com. That's www.alldus.com. Alldus International, empowering through AI.